So example 3 is going to ask us to write a converse of a conditional statement. All right? And there's, in logic, there's your conditional statement, that thing we were just talking about a moment ago. This means P leads to Q, so if P, then Q. That's what that means. All right. So when we say the converse of a conditional statement, converse, we are swapping the order of the if and then. If it rains, then I will use an umbrella. That's the conditional statement. The converse will be if I use an umbrella, then it rains. All right. It just swaps the if and then. All right. The negation, this little symbol here, means that we're saying not. So if I'm doing a negation of a statement, if it rains, then not P would be if it doesn't rain. All right, you're saying the opposite. All right, that's the negation. The inverse of a conditional statement is not the hypothesis leads to not the conclusion. So here's what that would look like. If it rains, then I will use an umbrella. If it does not rain, then I will not use an umbrella. That's the inverse. And then you got your contrapositive. They ran out of small, simple words to describe these things. Contrapositive swaps the order and negates. If it rains, then I will use an umbrella. If I don't use an umbrella, then it doesn't rain. All right. The one we're going to focus on example 3 is the converse. Only doing converse today. So, write the converse of the conditional statement. If you play the trumpet, then you play a brass instrument. What are the truth values of the original conditional statement and the converse? So, let's start with if you played the trumpet. So you find the word if. The words following the word if are the words of the hypothesis. So you play the trumpet as the hypothesis. So I'm looking at this, if I parse it a little bit, the p-value, the hypothesis of this thing is you play the trumpet. Then we find the word then. The words following the word then represent the conclusion. So that's the Q value. Then you play brass instrument. So the first thing I want to do on this problem is I want to pick out what P and Q are. Notice I did not write the word if or then in this, right? I'm just writing the words after if and then. So if, the words following represent the hypothesis, the p-value, and the word then, the words following that represent the Q, the conditional conclusion, right? So I didn't write if, didn't write that. The first task they're asking me to do, it says write the converse. So write the converse means this. We're going to say if, right? Converse means Q goes to P, right? So we're going to if Q, then P. So if Q, if you play a brass instrument, comma, then P, then you play the trumpet. Smart I haven't. Take a look. I do it. Okay. Now, take a look at what's going on here. All right, this is my converse. This is the answer to the question of write the converse. It's still got if, then order, if something, then something. All I did was I swapped the direction of the if and the then, right? So, if the second thing, then the first thing. The original conditional statement, if we assume truth in the hypothesis, again, we're going to assume truth. So if we're true in the hypothesis of the original statement, we're playing the trumpet. What type of instrument is a trumpet?
Brass.
Brass. All right. So if I'm playing the trumpet, if that's a true statement and I'm sitting here playing a trumpet, then I'm playing a brass instrument every single time, right? Trumpet didn't all of a sudden become a woodwind or a percussion instrument. It's always a brass instrument, right? So the conclusion is true if the hypothesis is true, so the conditional is true. So the original statement, original conditional statement, is true. All right, so now let's investigate the converse. How did I make the converse?
You switch the two.
Swap the P and the Q, right? Mm-hmm. So if I were to draw a truth table up for the converse, I'll do it right here. Give myself a whole lot of room, I'll have to write small. And when I write this truth table up for converse, Q implies P, right? So I'm going to put Q here and P here, and this is Q implies P, right? So what happens is, here's my 4 rows here, right? I'm going to flip them around. So true, true, false, true, true, false, false, false. All I'm doing on this truth table here is I'm taking this picture here and I'm swapping the order of P and Q there. We all see that okay? And you can see here that true, true is still true, and false, true is going to be true, and true, false is going to be false, and false, false is going to be true, right? So now, if we take a look at the converse here, if you play a brass instrument, then you play the trumpet. All right. So we're going to assume the truth. So true, true. I'm playing a brass instrument right now. Every single time I'm playing a brass instrument. Okay. What am I playing?
A brass instrument.
Brass instrument. Which one am I playing though? Which kind?
Trumpet.
Trumpet. Okay. Do I have to be playing the trumpet if I'm playing a brass instrument?
No.
What could I be playing? Trombone or tuba, French horn, baritone, I believe that's another one. Not a music teacher or anything, but anyway. So notice that this right here, playing a brass instrument, doesn't immediately mean that's true. So I've got a counterexample possible here, so that's false. Even though I'm playing a brass instrument, it's possible not to be playing a trumpet, so the converse is false. So be careful with the logic there, that you write the if-then statement correctly and you determine its truth or falseness, I guess, if correctly off of that. So again, you assume the truth for the hypothesis of the statement you're evaluating. This is the hypothesis. I play the brass instrument of the statement I'm evaluating. It doesn't have to be a trumpet. It could be a trombone or one of those other ones. So that's how we do this. Use the truth tables to help you out, but again, I always assume hypothesis true, determine the conclusion, true or false, to determine if it's true or false altogether.